Okay, so welcome to problem 3 of our playlist on considering special circumstances. So this is going to be a ratio word problem. A bit different from our geometry word problems, but we just need to find where's that random keyword. Okay. In a club, the ratio of, and notice that this is going to be a relatively harder problem, so don't worry if you get stuck. So, okay. In a club, the ratio of men to women is 3 to 2. The members of the club are split into 3 groups, and notice that it's not 3 equal groups, it's 3 groups. Group A, Group B, and Group C. The ratio of people in Group A to Group B to Group C is 10 to 8 to 7. The men to women ratio of Group A is 3 to 1, and the men to women ratio of Group B is 5 to 3. Find the ratio of men to women in Group C. Wow, so that is a lot of ratios. So first, I'm having trouble remembering all this information. How am I supposed to show it and make it more accessible? And second, I don't see any random or choose from these options, so I don't see any keywords. But wait a minute, and then we'll find out. So first, we need to organize our information, right? So I'm going to make a chart. So this is group A, group B, and group C. And this stands for male, and then this stands for female. So we know that the ratio of group A to group B to group C, just all the members in group A, B, and C, that ratio is 10 to 8 to 7. And just in group A, the men to women ratio is 5 to 3. And just in group B, the men to women ratio is, this is 5 to 3, and this is 3 to 1. Okay, kind of made a little mistake there. And we're just trying to find what should be the ratio of men to women in group C. Okay, so where do we start? It's really hard with all of these ratios. So what I'm going to first do, and we also know that this is 3 to 2, total, is let there be a certain amount of people in the club. So I'm first going to double each of these numbers. So I'm just going to pretend that in group A there are 20 people, that in group B there are 16 people, that in group 7 there are 14 people. So I'm just doubling this. And why I'm doing this is because I already know the ratios. And if I set any number of people, the ratio will still hold true. So I'm just setting some numbers that are easy for me to calculate over here. So that would be 20, 16, and 14. So this is actually that second step already of considering special circumstances. So in this special circumstance, there are 20 people and 16 people and 14 people in each of the groups A, B, and C. So if in total in group A there are 20 people, and we know that 3/4, because so we know that there are 3 parts. There are 4 parts right now, 3 and 1. 3 out of those 4 parts are men, and 1 out of those parts are female. So over here we get 15 people. So there are 15 men in group A, and there are 5 women in group A. Over here, what is the total amount of parts or pieces? That would be 5 plus 3, 8. So 5 out of those 8 parts are men, and 3 out of those 8 parts are women. And why I'm multiplying 16 to each of these is because the total amount of people is 16. So this gives us 10, and this gives us 6. Okay, so 10 men and 6 women. All right, so if I know that in each of these groups there are 20 people, 16 people, and 14 people added together, I know that there are 50 people in the total. So we already know that the ratio of men to women is 3 to 2. So we know that in total, how many men are there? So if it's 3 to 2, 3 out of those 5 parts are men. So we get 30 men in total. There are 20 women, which means that in group C, how many more men are there going to be? Well, we already have 25, so we need 5 more men. And for the females, we already have 11, so we need 9 more. So the final ratio of men to women in group C is going to be 5 to 9. So you could have solved it with the normal ratio way, but everything was much easier when we just or that first step of doubling each of these numbers and taking it from fractions and ratios to actual numbers that we could work with, that was much easier because each of these part sizes would be the same. So that was very important. And this is how helpful considering special circumstances and word problems can be. So even though there wasn't one of those keywords that we were looking for, we managed to actually create it ourselves, right? So not in every single problem they're going to tell you and say that keyword in their problem. So sometimes after just listing out a helpful graph like this, you can really think of, well, what can I do to make my calculations easier and more efficient? So that's really the whole mindset of considering special circumstances, and this was a very challenging problem. So the next problem is actually going to be a pretty fun one. So